Welcome back to another episode of We Don't Know What to Watch, the podcast where two guys watch random movies and talk about them. With me, as always, is the incredible, the effervescent, the amazing, the Geppetto to my Pinocchio, Kyle Mulford, and I'm Noah Saturn. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm gonna build me a I'm gonna build me a new son.
Gonna make a little wooden boy, and he will become real.
So real. Won't even believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is one of our mini episodes, sometimes maxi episodes, where we talk about what we've been watching. So, Kyle, what you watching?
This might be a maxi episode because we haven't recorded in a while and I watched a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'll
Um
probably keep mine to the hits because some of them are
I,
just misses. And
I'm gonna try and do that too. But well, first then I'm gonna start on The Woman King from 2022. Uh this is with Viola Davis. It's I can't remember what year this is set in, but it's like a tribe in Africa, and there's another tribe try and take over their territory, and she's like this strong female warrior. I think this is based on actual like tribes that had like these um warrior women, and yeah, and then it's kind of a story of her, and then there's another girl who is kind of orphaned and joins the joins the group and fights with them, and it's a pretty cool story, and you get to see Viola Davis kick ass. So I'd recommend it.
nice.
And then I watched Freaked from 1993 from Alex Winter, and this is about this spoiled actor kid who gets like a sponsorship deal, and he has to go down. I think it's like South America or something to some place and do a sponsorship for this place, and they've got like this toxic goop. And Randy Quaid has a freak show down there, and then he turns other people into freaks. So like
Oh no,
Alex Winter gets like half of his face distorted, and then his friend and another woman they meet get joined together as like conjoined twins. And then you have the friend was played by the oldest brother on Blossom, not Joey Lawrence, but the older brother. And then
nice,
you have like I said, Randy Quaid runs the freak show. You have Mr. T as a bearded woman. You have Bobcat Goldthwait as a literal like sock puppet. It's so
nice.
and Keanu Reeves as a wolf boy.
I
And
was
so
wondering if Keanu was going to be there.
yes, he was there too. And you were there, and you were there. This is just a real goofy, weird, bizarre movie from Alex Winter, and if you're into bizarro stuff, I'd highly recommend this one. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
And then I watched. We'll skip up to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. This is a stop motion animation movie on Netflix from
I also
2022.
watched this one. What do you think of it?
I really liked this, and I thought the stop motion animation was gorgeous.
Agreed.
It's Guillermo del Toro, so it's a bit of a darker tale than you're used to with Pinocchio. But you've got it was Ewan McGregor as Jiminy Cricket, or as the Cricket, and yeah, it's just about a man who loses his son, and so you see all that backstory of him losing his son, and then he grows this pine tree, and it grows up near the grave of his son, and then it comes down, and then in a drunken rage Geppetto creates a puppet, but he wasn't even really trying to replace his son in this one. He just like it was just a drunken rage. He's like, I don't want you, you're not my son. So but then they start to learn that they love each other, and he does become like another son to him, and then it ends sad too because
And then the Nazis are there.
yeah, and so yeah, it's a really beautiful movie, but kind of heart wrenching too.
Yeah, it definitely pulls at the heartstrings, at least for me, and how the relationship between Geppetto and Pinocchio was extremely central to the film, as well as the relationship between Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket. At least the cricket. I don't know if it was Jiminy, but very
Yeah,
different
I
from
don't know if that's a
the
Disney name.
very different from the Disney film. But also, even the Disney film was kind of dark.
Yeah, but yeah, and again, the stop motion is gorgeous, so
If you like
I'd highly recommend
animation,
this.
highly recommend it to anyone and everyone. It's a gorgeous movie. I wish I would have been able to see it on the big screen.
Indeed. Um, moving on, I watched on HBO Max a 1947 film called "It Happened on Fifth Avenue." This is kind
What
of a
happened?
it happened. It did
What
happen.
happened? It happened?
It happened. Um, this is about it's set during Christmas time, and you're following a guy who came back from the war, and this is after World War II, and there was the men who came back couldn't find housing and stuff, I guess, and I guess
Mhm.
that was a real problem. And then this guy's looking for a place to live because he gets booted out of the place he was staying at, and he finds this old man who invites him to his mansion, but he says, "Nope, we've got to go through the gate in the back." And then they go down the sewer. It's like it turns out this guy, like every winter, he knows when this big rich family in New York like leaves for the winter and then comes back for the winter. So he like moves into the house a couple days after they leave and moves out a couple days before they leave. So
Nice.
and then you start all of a sudden get like more and more people coming into the house, and uh and then the owner of the house ends up catching wind of this and moves in like incognito as a poor person, and hilarity ensues. It's actually a pretty sweet movie. We watched this with the whole family and it was a really enjoyable movie, and
Nice.
I would highly recommend this one as well.
Right on.
And then I watched on Pluto TV. I watched John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, because we had watched Chapter 2 for our podcast. And this is more John Wick goodness where it gets even crazier because this is basically it's almost like the new Dread movie or The Raid where he's like going up the the building. But that's like the second half of the movie. I forgot how long this movie is, and like
Mhm.
the whole first half he's got to go to another country, and then he's trying to he gets back into the fold again by vowing his fealty and cutting off his finger, and then he comes back, and then all hell breaks loose again, and lots of gunplay,
And Halle
and,
Berry is there.
and Halle Berry is there.
Yeah, and her cute,
And
cute doggies.
yes, very cute doggies. And this is another fun one. I mean, if you like the first two John Wick movies, watch the whole trilogy and finish it off with this one. I will say this one is rather long, but I still really enjoyed this one.
I'm
So
looking forward to chapter 4.
I am as well. And then I watched a lot of newer movies. I watched another 2022 22 film on Netflix called Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical. And this is just the film version of the musical version of Matilda.
Yes.
And it was quite delightful. And the little girl, I don't remember the actress's name, but that little girl who plays Matilda in this new version is a star. I will just say that she was wonderful in this film.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's about a girl who's got terrible parents, and she goes to an awful school, and she loves to read, but the principal of the school hates children, thinks they're all scum because this is a Roald Dahl story, and
Mhm.
and then she and the other children eventually rebel, all in
Also, she
musical,
has mind powers.
and she has mind powers. And this is the musical version. So there was a old 90s movie with Danny DeVito that was non-musical.
Has directed by Danny DeVito as well.
Yeah, so this one's a great one to watch with your kids. It's a lot of fun. The music is great, and like I said, the little girl who plays Matilda is an absolute star. So another recommend. And I've got another recommend with Violent Night from 2022, which you talked about last time.
Yes. So
And
good.
you said it might be up my alley, and it was way up my alley. I I loved this. Uh, David Harbour as the real Santa Claus, delivering presents to a mansion, and it's a bunch of awful, awful rich people. But there's also a sweet little girl in there, and she, through plot devices, ends up communicating with Santa, and then some bad people, led by John Leguizamo, come to rob the house, and Santa starts kicking ass, and it is so much fun, and I
Mhm.
loved it. And David Harbour as Santa is wonderful,
Yes.
as just a drunk Santa who's kind of like fed up with being Santa. until he learns the true magic of Christmas again at the end after killing a bunch of bad guys.
Yes. The favorite part of me is like, "Christmas magic?" I don't know, I don't really know how it works, but
Yeah, I don't know how any of this works. I loved the, "You're him. You're really him. You're really that's what I've been trying to tell you the whole time." It was so great.
Mhm.
Uh, and then on Netflix, I watched another 2022 film called Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery. I was so excited to watch this, and it delivered.
I talked about this one before. Absolutely adore it. So good. Benoit Blanc is so great.
Yeah, and the other characters, Edward Norton as the, like, rich billionaire Elon Musk type idiot was, wonderful. And, all the different side characters, and it was just a fun little mystery again. Like, I really enjoy Ryan Johnson. I think is a fantastic storyteller and a great writer and a really great director too, and I will watch anything he directs and writes. So, I would like to see
This is dumb.
the
It's so dumb,
this
it's brilliant. No, it's just dumb.
it's just dumb. God, that whole speech was hilarious when he put, Edward Norton in his place and everything. So, I don't wanna give away anything with this movie, but, it if you liked Knives Out, I think you will enjoy this movie too. I think that I liked Knives Out, the first one, a little better, but this one had some really great moments in it as well, and just the twists and turns that he takes that are just kind of unexpected, are a lot of fun. So,
Absolutely.
as such a good writer. Then I watched another 2022 film on DVD called Smile, and this is about a psychiatrist who gets a patient come in, and she thinks this entity's following her and is gonna kill her, and like she sees like deceased people with this weird creepy smile on their face, and it's very similar. It's almost similar to It Follows.
Got some Joker
With
cast. That must be it.
what's that?
It's all just Joker cast that makes people smile.
This is a big audition. This is a big audition tape for the Joker.
I knew it.
um, I, I enjoyed it. It was kind of cool, but I don't know. It was lacking something. I I don't know. I don't know if I really recommend this one. Unfortunately, I was kind of looking forward to this, a good horror movie, but this one didn't deliver real well. Um, I watched with my family on Disney Plus another 2022 film called Strange World. This is the new Disney animated film. This was so advertised that I didn't know it existed until it dropped on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it was barely marketed at all.
And I thought it was meh. It was okay. My kids loved it. So if you've got younger kids, they'll enjoy it. I thought it was just very kind of blah storytelling about a family who live on this world that's surrounded by a mountain, and there's a dad who's an explorer and wants to find out what's on the other side of the mountain, and he raises his son to be an explorer too, but his son doesn't want to be. So it's all about father son dynamics, because then that son has a son and kind of treats him the same way and comes to realize, oh, I'm pushing you into something also. And so it's got a good message about family dynamics and all that stuff, and but it's not a classic Disney film by any means.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like the new Treasure Planet, where they will just have a huge cult following in a few years.
It might. And like I said, it might just be me. Kids loved it. My kids both actually really loved it. So
It's great.
if you've got young kids, watch that one. And then I'm only going to mention this one because it looked really cool. George Miller's 2022 film 3000 Years of Longing. I just longed for it to be over the whole time because it was so boring.
Oh no.
I was so sad because it looked so cool and it had Idris Elba as a genie, and I was like, "Oh, this will be awesome." And it was pretty, but it was dull, so I'd skip that one. Then I bought the Blu-ray for the 2022 film Black Adam,
Nice.
and I had a lot of fun with this one. Was it the
Did it
best DC?
change the hierarchy of power in your Blu-ray collection?
No. Um, I it's not my favorite of the current DC run, but it was a lot of fun, and I liked a lot of the characters in it. They brought in a character called Tornado. The girl who played that was pretty awesome. And then I liked Hawkman was cool. And they brought in Atom Smasher, and it's about Black Adam. He gets powers from the same wizards that Shazam got powers from way back when, and then he's put into a tomb, and then he's raised again through circumstances in current day, and you find out he's not really the hero that you thought he was going to be, and he kind of wants to like free his people in his country of Kondak again, and starts fighting against the JSA, but then they have to work together against another power, and it's a fun comic book movie. One of my problems with it is some of the CGI, like the things they did with it. I was like, that looks just kind of wonky. But then there was some other CGI stuff that I was like, oh, that looks really cool. So it was kind of hit and miss with what they did with the CGI in this movie. But the
Hmm.
fights were cool and the characters were cool because I'm a DC Comics fan. So,
Nice, nice.
and then I watched the 2014 film What We Do in the Shadows on DVD because my kid wanted to watch this one because they've become a Taika Waititi fan. They watched Our Flag Means Death um, and stuff like that. So
It's so
uh,
good.
I love this film. Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi. This is an earlier film from Taika, and it's a documentary crew following around a bunch of vampires that live in a house in I don't remember what country they're in this movie.
It's in New Zealand.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because it was just a New Zealand film, so they're actually in New Zealand, and just kind of a documentary, mockumentary of like vampire lore, and it's quite funny. And I'm going to highly recommend this. But then also as a follow up, uh, my kid and I have started watching the TV series that this is based on, or
Also very good.
that was based on the movie, and we're just getting into the second season, and I am almost liking the show better than the movie. It is fantastic. It's so funny. So I would watch the movie, and then there is one episode in the first season that is all time classic because they have a vampire council, but it's it's like Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement and the other guy who was the other lead come back as their characters from the movie. But then Tilda Swinton is there, who was in Only Lovers Left Alive, and who else was in there?
Even Wesley Snipes showed up.
Wesley Snipes shows up on Skype, which I thought was funny because he's like half vampire, half human from Blade. And they all show up as they're dressed like their characters, but like because of copyright, like they're just named their actor names. Oh, Paul Rubens showed up because he was
Yeah,
in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he even put like even did the hair and everything like he did in that movie. And Evan Rachel Wood, I think she was in like True Blood or something like that. And and then they name drop like, oh, Kiefer couldn't make it, and Tom and Brad couldn't make it.
yeah.
That was
It's
such a
so
great
great.
scene. Every time they revealed another person on the council, I'm like, oh, that's hilarious.
It just got funnier.
Yeah. But yeah, I recommend the movie and the show. This one I've already talked about, but I'm just going to mention it again because it's awesome. I rewatched my Blu-ray of the 2022 film The Batman, and it's still amazing. So that's all I need to say about that.
Is Batman still in it?
Yes, Batman is still in it.
Oh, good to know.
Uh, Robert Pattinson.
Oh boy.
Oh, groan. And then finally, I watched on HBO Max another John Leguizamo movie. Well, he's in this movie. The Menu from 2022. Uh, this is a weird, like, dark humor satire, semi horror about like like the ritzy elite eating establishments and the people who pay like $2,500 a plate to eat at certain restaurants. And there's like this chef that lives on an island, and he brings people to his island, and like he has like just like 12 customers in a day because then he has this whole experience with his food, and it's really kind of like taking the piss out of like that whole culture. And it's kind of interesting. And Rafe Fiennes as the chef is awesome, and then Nicholas Holt is great as a guy who's like a super foodie and just totally into this restaurant and super excited to be there. And he brings along Anya Taylor-Joy, who Nicholas Holt's original date broke up with him or something. So he gets Anya Taylor-Joy, and she doesn't give two shits about being there. So like that's a great dynamic, and uh, and then things go kind of awry with this whole thing, and it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but I'm still going to give it a recommend because it was
Okay.
quite an interesting movie, and that's streaming on HBO Max. But that's some of the better stuff I watched.
Yep. So the last time we recorded was what, December 15th. So there's still some ways to go on that. So let's see. I watched Home Alone 1 and 2 for the first time. I had never seen those before.
Oh,
My
honestly, I actually watched Home Alone 1 with my family. I just didn't mention it because I've mentioned that one before. But your first watch?
Yeah. So my in-laws really like it, and my father-in-law just calls it, instead of calling it Home Alone, he just calls it Kevin. So we would just watch Kevin and Kevin 2.
Kevin,
Pretty
what
much.
what what'd you think?
I really liked it. Definitely was a lot of the setup and payoff for a lot of the gags are really good. One of the dumbest things I really liked was how every time like someone stopped at that house, the statue would get blown over or something.
Oh, like the pizza man ran into it
Yeah.
twice.
Stuff like that. And then I liked in the second one how like it's like, okay, they're all getting in the van to go to the airport, and then in the then like and then Kevin says, and that's why I got my own ticket. That was kind of a fun reveal when he was already in the car and they
Nice.
were worried about him. And I think first one is probably a little bit better, a little more focused, but overall better story. Although second one was pretty goofy. And the second one did have Tim Curry. So, there's that.
Yes. I haven't seen the second one in a long time, but it also has Donald Trump.
Mm,
Uh, um, I think one of the great things about the first one is how tightly written it is because he's left home alone. And for the length of time he's left home alone, they cover all of the bases, like how his passport gets destroyed, but they still count him when loading the car and getting on the plane and then trying to get back, like they can't get back right away because it's a holiday season. Like they really, like John Hughes thought of everything with how he ended up there weren't any holes there.
Also, John Candy was there.
Yes, because it's a John Hughes movie, you got to have a little John Candy cameo.
I just love that one random scene where he's just like they're sitting in the back of the car. Then John Candy talks about the time like, oh, my wife and I once left the kid at a funeral home. Yep, just
Right.
him and the body. He started
he
talking
got, he
again.
got over it in 5 or 6 years. It was okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Apparently, that whole monologue was improvised.
Oh, nice.
Yep, I also watched Pinocchio. We talked about that. I adored that film. And let's see. I also watched Muppet Christmas Carol.
We watch that every year. That's my wife's favorite Christmas Carol version.
Well, that's the best, objectively.
I've always been partial to Mickey's Christmas Carol because that's the one I watched every year growing up.
Nice. Yep, and watched Bound, which was the first film made by the Wachowskis.
Have you ever seen that before?
I had not seen that before, so that was a new experience, and
Was that not awesome? I actually really dug that movie.
it was a solid thriller and also like explicit.
Yes, very. And it's all like the majority of it is set in one place, just like those two apartment rooms.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
very
it's
tightly written, and I think that makes perfect sense. And also, it's fun to see if he. It was fun to see Christopher Maloney for 5 seconds.
I always love when he shows up and stuff. Like I'm like a big fan of his. Like he does that. He's been doing SVU for a bajillion years, but like I love when he shows up in movies. I just like that guy.
Yeah, that was great. Yep, solid film. And then let's see, I also watched another one called Sarafina from 1992. Have you ever heard of that one?
I don't think I have.
So it's Whoopi Goldberg is probably the biggest name in it, but it takes place in South Africa during apartheid. So I believe in the 1970s, and it's about these group of students and how they're rebelling against the government and the apartheid government that they're fighting up against. And it's very honest in the sense that yeah, these people get arrested, they get tortured, they get treated extremely poorly. Some of them get killed by the cops. So, but they still have hope that they'll one day, that apartheid will end and one day they'll be free. And that is what happened eventually in 1990. So powerful film. highly recommended. Good dramatic role for Whoopi, and it's one I haven't heard before, but my wife liked it, so that's when we watched it together.
Awesome.
So the next question is, Kyle, what do you think you're gonna watch next?
Well, a month or 2 ago, I watched, the first Blind Swordsman, movie, and so I think I wanna continue on with that series and watch,
All 30 of them?
uh, well, the other 24, because there are
Oh,
25 total, and I've seen the first one now.
my bad. I thought there were more than that.
No, but I'm very interested to see just because I think it is actually the same actor in all 25 movies.
Nice.
So, and I really liked him in the first movie. I thought the first movie was cool. So I'm like, man, he's pretty good in this, and he's in all the movies. I was like, this could be quite a treat to watch all these. So that is next up for me. What about yourself?
I need to go to the theater and watch Megan because it was produced by James Wan and written by Akila Cooper, who was the same woman that wrote uh, Malignant. So, like, okay, now I gotta see this.
Oh, okay. So I have been so hyped to see this movie and to know it was written by the same person who wrote *Malignant*. That like that movie was batshit crazy, and that's what I was hoping for with Megan. So now I'm even more excited because I didn't know that's who wrote this.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
That looks so great. Awesome. Well, so I guess that's what we've been watching, what we're gonna watch next, and you can follow us online on Twitter at AwesomeKM.
And add to Noah_Saturn, that is spelled Satern.
And we're on Instagram at We Don't Know What to Watch, and you can email us at we don't know what to watch at gmail.com. And so let us know what you've been watching and what you like, what you dislike. Give us some recommends to watch. And until next time, keep watching.
Keep watching.